Hi, my name is Rachel Nevett, and I'm a junior finishing up my HOD capstone internship. I interned at Blue Wave this semester and learned all about values-based culture over the course of the internship. My why in life is building community. I love bringing people together, and I thrive in the intersection between task roles and relationship roles. So, a lot of the people I've talked to this semester get confused when I explain to them what Blue Wave does. We are an advisory firm to the private equity industry and help them connect to the consultants and service providers that they need. I then often need to explain that a private equity firm is a company that buys other companies, makes them better, and then sells them around 6 years later. A lot of the people I've talked to who expected me to accept an internship in HR, nonprofits, or something of that sort, then ask me, why? I have a very clear answer. From my first step on site at my interview, I've loved Blue Wave's culture. I want to work in that atmosphere and learn more about what makes it so great. My learning goal is to understand what other organizations can do to create and maintain positive values-based culture by learning about Blue Wave's culture. This screencast will focus on how I developed the 7 things that you can do to apply this to other organizations, not just Blue Wave. I gathered information in a variety of ways. First was observation. I took detailed field notes and some pictures about my observation of people, interactions, and the physical office space. I also took a deep dive into the meaning behind some of these moments in my 3 different case studies that I did for my classwork. I also utilized interviews, both formal and informal, to learn more about my company and coworkers. I was able to reflect on my own hiring and orientation process into the company. Lastly, I gathered information of company culture through independent research on relevant theories. Let's delve into some of the details about Blue Wave's culture and what life is like for the people who work here. Blue Wave's values are clearly displayed here on one of the many canvases decorating our halls. Team, value, win, grow. I was able to get a sense of Blue Wave living out these values from the very beginning. The first thing I did as part of the intern hiring process was take an online personality test. When I asked Sean, our CEO, about it a couple months later, he told me that he wanted to ensure that our team has a mix of personalities and skills. Teams don't function well if everyone thinks and acts the same. I was pleased that so much purpose went into building a positive team. Another really great thing about my hiring process was that the first half was with Houston and Libby, the director and head of client programs who led the recruiting process. But halfway through my interview, Houston and Libby left, and Sean, the CEO, came in. It meant a lot that Sean cared enough about his team to spend half an hour talking to a potential intern. When Zach, my co-intern, and I first started at Blue Wave, everyone played a role in making us feel welcome, included, and on the same page. Other associates who were not our supervisors were inviting us to sit in on their calls and see how they run. We were also told to schedule time with 3 different associates to learn about parts of how Blue Wave's process works, instead of learning it just from Houston. On our second day, Zach and I were invited into Sean's office, and Sean told us the in-depth story of Blue Wave's history and Sean's why behind developing the company and running its daily operations. He told us about his time working in private equity in New York, about how private equity employees' deals stay forever on their record, and that failure is not an option. Sean told us about how he started Blue Wave so that the company can focus on winning for others and help people under tremendous pain and suffering succeed and win. I thought that meeting was very impactful at helping us align our work with Blue Wave's why, and inspiring us and others to make this a positive experience. There is also a lot of personality and pep in our physical office space. The company had moved into a bigger office a couple weeks before Zach and I started interning here. Our first month, there was a running whiteboard brainstorm about what to name our 3 conference rooms. It had anything from hot chicken spice levels to the names of famous waves. It was eventually decided that our conference rooms would be known as Dolly Parton, Johnny Cash, and Willie Nelson, and each one has its own personality and conference room experience. Also, Libby routinely writes funny quotes and sayings on her whiteboard for people to chuckle at in between calls, like pictured here. And as the weather has been getting nicer, it's become more and more common for employees to sit and work outside for a little bit to have a change of pace and some vitamin D. We also now have a kegerator in the office, and though it is not used during office hours, its presence does brighten up the space. To the left, you can see Zach utilizing his skills to help build it. And to the right, you can see my contribution, beautiful labels made with chalk pens. One of my favorite things about Blue Wave is team lunch on Fridays. A couple days before, Libby sends out a poll to see what people prefer to eat, and Blue Wave provides all its Nashville employees a delicious catered lunch each week. Everyone knows to not schedule calls between noon and 1 every Friday, and we eat, talk, and bond together. A relatively new aspect of team lunch is passion projects. Each week, one person gives a 3-minute presentation about something they're passionate about. I've seen passion projects about anything from regional American dialects to monster trucks to lacrosse. On the left, you can see my preparations for my passion project on the NBC show The Good Place, and on the right, you can see the beginning of Zach's passion project on surfing. Another fun thing that Blue Wave does involves this basketball hoop that one of our associates brought from home. Starting the second week of our internship, each employee takes 1 shot a day from a designated spot in the room, and our scores are recorded on a nearby whiteboard. I'm usually allowed a couple of practice shots also, as I'm the only person in the office who has missed every single shot every single day, even though it's been 4 months. I vividly remember one time when we were waiting for a couple associates to finish up their calls so we could do Friday lunch. My coworkers took their shots and then allowed me probably 35 practice shots. They cheered me on as I tried and failed time and time again. Although this was such a little and inconsequential activity, it clearly mirrors how our team works together. Blue Wave has created an atmosphere where employees are excited to try new things because they are encouraged to learn from their failures. We are encouraged to constantly reiterate, redefine, and retry to help us and our team grow and win together. As I spent my time immersed in this positive, productive, and uplifting culture, I was able to piece together these important moments and common threads. I wanted to learn about how to apply what I learned about Blue Wave's culture to better other organizations I am and will eventually become a part of. I developed this graphic displaying the 7 ways I discovered that an organization can implement positive values-based culture. I will explain each one in depth. One of the most influential moments of my internship and experience at Blue Wave was the initial conversation in Sean's office when he explained his why behind founding Blue Wave. We start off all of our calls with a condensed version of that story, and it really helps provide context and meaning to our work. Sean is not the only leader who has found this effective. Simon Sinek developed this idea in his Golden Circle theory, published in 2009. He discusses how putting why first inspires action and creates a culture of meaning. In 2017, Bowman and Deal wrote about the strength of viewing organizations through an HR frame, of viewing organizations as a family. Not every organization is allowed to be picky with who they invite, engage, and have join their family, but the ones that are have a unique opportunity to ensure that their team is filled with well-rounded, diverse people who have the same values and same why as the organization and the rest of the team. Zach and I work really well together because we have very different personalities and strengths, and Blue Wave was able to be proactive about making that happen through their hiring process. Another part of organizations as a family is working together to be welcoming. When everyone works together to help train and engage new employees or new members, the organization helps build community and everyone feels included. It is not just the supervisor or the vice president of first-year engagement's job to form relationships and explain new ideas. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is about the order in which humans are able to process and address our needs. Physiological needs, food, water, shelter, safety, make up the base of the triangle. This means that we need to ensure that these needs are taken care of before we can address needs that are higher up, like belonging, workplace productivity, success, and eventually self-actualization. Blue Wave does a very good job of addressing even the tiniest of needs on the bottom of Maslow's pyramid. For example, I'm lactose intolerant, and we now have almond creamer in the fridge in addition to almond milk and everyone else's regular coffee-related items. This is such a little thing, but it means a lot and helps me take care of myself physically so that I can focus on doing good work. I've talked a lot about the physical office space of our office during the screencast. One's environment plays a big role in their mood. According to a 2014 study by Elliott and Mayer, something as little as the color of room someone is in can affect achievement, cognition, mood, and behavior. Employees spend their whole day in the same space, and it's important to make sure that there is thought and meaning behind what is in that space. A big part of organizational culture is employee norms. One of my favorite quotes is, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit." If you're trying to implement culture, you need to start with the small things people are used to every day, whether it's dressing in business casual, keeping your calendar public and open, or trying to throw a basketball once a day. These norms over time can contribute to the psychological safety of an organization, making the small things actually very, very important. Everyone has something that they care about. If you want to build community and make people work better together, it's a good idea to encourage sharing, whether in a formal or informal context. Our 3-minute passion projects have allowed our employees to learn a lot from each other, especially because we all come from such different backgrounds and often don't work on the same projects. This also gives low talkers a chance to shine, while high talkers are required to sit and listen. One of the design thinking mindsets is learn from failure, but employees cannot learn from failure if they are too scared to try anything new. Blue Wave is centered around the fact that we try a lot of things, and therefore can fail daily, to find the right answer to present to our client so that they can win. We are encouraged to constantly try, test, iterate, and refine. Encouraging failure helps employees operate with a growth mindset. People with a growth mindset believe that they can get better at anything with hard work, and that things like talent and knowledge are fluid and can always be improved. People with a growth mindset are able to learn from failure and improve themselves. Blue Wave is not the only organization I am a part of. As the Vice President of Recruitment Information of my sorority and the Vice President of Membership and Programming of Vanderbilt Hillel, I work on building positive community every day. I'm excited to take what I learned into my current and future roles in extracurricular, professional, and volunteer organizations and build positive culture.